A very good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am Tathagat Banerjee, associate with ECPT and EduGuy. Welcome to the Career Hour by ECPT, which stands for EduGuy Career Predictive Test. ECPT is a state-of-the-art career counseling service powered by artificial intelligence, AI, and deep learning. This is a new tool. It's a unique software product and one of the most advanced career counseling services provided by EduGuy and IBM jointly. ECPT is a 120 minutes AI powered career test that has three segments in the module highlighting IBM 3A career recommendation framework based on the foundation of three factors: attitude, aptitude, and aspiration. If you have any queries on Career Hour or ECPT, please get in touch with us at info@eduguy.com. Today, we are liking to inform you about the culinary arts. Culinary arts is not only but the art of cooking. A culinary arts course trains students to prepare, cook, as well as present food or meals in an effective and attractive manner. Pursuing careers in this field of culinary arts is an ideal choice for the students who want to make a career in the field of food and beverage management or kitchen management, as well as the other hospitality and food related job profiles. Culinary arts course included operational, technical, and managerial skills in candidate which helped them to excel in the culinary sector of hospitality industry. Aspirants can pursue culinary arts courses at undergraduate, which is known UG, as well as postgraduate, which is PG level, and culinary arts courses offered at the UG level are mostly of 3 years of durations. Popular UG level courses in culinary arts include Bachelor in Hospitality Management, Culinary Specializations, BVOC in Bakery and Cookery, BA in Culinary Arts, Bachelor of Catering Technology and Culinary Arts, BVOC in Culinary Operation, BSc in Culinary Science, BHM with Culinary Arts, BA in International Culinary Arts, etc. On another way, I can say cooking is the greatest art in the history of mankind. That painting hanging from your wall is attract to your eyes. Those sound created by Beethoven or Mozart or our very own A.R. Rahman will melt in your ears. All of these arts will made only once to make you amazed for your lifetime. But that dish of Hyderabadi Nizami biryani will ask your tongue, your eyes, your nose, even your soul to come to and point towards it every moment. That's why the culinary art is the greatest art in the world. Today, in this fantastic evening, we are very much of lucky to have one of our industry's best in business, Chef Sanjay Kak. He has 30 years of humongous experience in this hospitality industry as a chef and a culinary educator. He graduated from IHM Pusha in the year of 1990 and joined the Taj Group of Hotels as kitchen management trainee and worked in Taj Groups for long 22 years at various locations and positions. Worked at the top hotels and restaurants of the Taj and as an executive chef. Chef Park also worked in airline catering, industrial catering, and product development during his tenure with Taj. He also worked as Specialty Restaurant Limited as a culinary director of product development and quality assurance. Right now, presently, he is working as a director of culinary arts at the Institute of Hotel Management and IndusMart Group since for the last 6 years. Welcome, Chef. A very good evening to you.
Thank you very much, Tathagata. That was a very flattering introduction. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chef. So, Chef, today we're gonna be having a small Q&A question and answer round with you. So, if you please bear with me, so I can just ask you a few of the questions because our students would be very much of happy to know the career aspects of culinary arts. So, my
Uh,
first question, yes, please.
no, I
Uh,
was saying thank you very much for having me this evening, and I will try my best to answer the queries to the best of my capability. And of course, I know it is for the benefit of young professionals or wannabes who want to get into this profession. And I will try and be as frank and as explicit as possible.
Thank you very much, Chef, as expected. Uh, Chef, my first question is for you that as of now, the culinary industry has recognized is one of the most innovative and the fast changing industry. What would be the future scope for our aspiring chefs to be in the food and beverage industry?
See, Tathagato, actually, the this industry has changed immensely over the last 50 years. I can tell you with a lot of confidence because I have been in this industry directly now for the last 30 years. And before that, I have worked with people who were there in this industry 20, 25 years before I started, and listening to their stories, listening to what they had gone through in the industry and how the industry developed since, let's say, the late 60s or 70s in India and abroad. I must say that this business or this business of culinary arts has undergone a complete transformation, right? And this transformation has not come only on the can not only be seen on the plate. This transformation can also be seen on the profile of the people who work in this industry. With the technology coming in, with new systems coming in, with new management systems creeping in into the industry, with new chains of hotels developing, with new technologies of cooking, as far as, because that is the base art of culinary, I would say, culinary business. There is so much that has happened over the last 40, 50 years that it has seen a complete transformation of sorts. And if you look at the last 20 years, because I joined this industry as a trainee chef in the early 90s. And if I look at my career in the last 30 years, I can tell you that I would never ever have imagined that this industry is going to change so much in the last 3 decades, rather 2 decades. Because 20 years back, 25 years back, there were a lot of technologies which were there at the nascent stage. For example, you know the development of World Wide Web, you know the development of internet, you know the development of social media, the development of new technologies, as you all are aware about artificial intelligence, etc., etc. They have brought in so much of freshness. They brought in so much of interaction. They brought in so much of new things into this technology, into this industry, that if we look at the kind of pace of development of this industry today, as in 2020, I'm not subtracting. Please understand, I'm not subtracting the pandemic. I'm saying even with the pandemic on, the kind of development that this industry has seen. I'm not talking about I'm not talking about the the trough that has come because of the pandemic. I'm talking about a lot of other things which are positive, other than if you look at only at the negatives of the pandemic. I'm saying that even if you look at what is happening to culinary arts today in 2020, the next 5 years are going to be amazing. And don't ask me about the next 10 years, because I don't even know what is going to happen, because it's developing so fast and so quick that the changes are at times, almost difficult to catch, right? And although it has been 30 years that I've been in this industry, at times the pace of the things that come is so fast that it's very, very difficult to catch the pace. So I think it's going to get better and better and better and bigger.
Great to know it, Chef. Great to know. Chef, my second question will be related that what are the things you have shared right now, that there are few the people are still there in our society, especially in Indian society, that who is not admiring that culinary can be an art from a proper art from a proper career. Kindly tell us the opportunity for a chef to be in a different career path when they will gonna be passed out from a culinary art management college.
Oh, okay. This is a very valid question, I must say, because even because with my association with International Institute of Hotel Management for the last 7 years, and even before that, when I was with Taj Group of Hotels, I used to interview a lot of people. And what you just asked me has been resonating into my mind, into my ears for quite some time. And not that when I joined the industry, it was a very acceptable industry, but at the same time we hear these kind of things for everything. Like for example, you will see a lot of people are looking forward to doing government jobs. They spend years and years and years together preparing for the government jobs, even if it is a superintendent's examination, or it is a teacher's examination, government teacher's examination, or let us say it is a bank examination or public service commission examination. There are people who keep on trying, but they do not try anything else, right? Though, so 30 years back, when I was a student studying in the 12th standard, and I can now say after so many years that I was a fairly good student in school. And I had thought very early. I was from a family which was, my father was in the army, and my mother was a teacher, and I had decided very much in the beginning of my career that I wanted to get into the army. But unfortunately, because of my eyesight, which gave way very early in my career, I was studying in ninth or 10th, I started wearing glasses. And then I had to think of an alternate career. And in my times, the alternate career was engineering, मेडिसिन. अगर ये दोनों नहीं हुआ तो फिर तुमको बैंक में नौकरी करना पड़ेगा, right? There was not a fourth profession. I come from Kashmir. I was born and brought up in Kashmir, and our families were extremely well educated, and very outgoing, very liberal families. But at the same time, as far as the jobs were concerned, there was a lot of limitation, and I was hell bent upon doing something different. And I don't want to get too much into my history, but then finally somehow I sat for the hotel management exam without even understanding what it was. I had no clue what I am signing it for. I had also got admission in an engineering college. I had joined Pune College of Engineering, studied there for a month and a half, and then one fine morning I got selected in hotel management. I said, okay, I have to do this. And my parents were quite upset at the beginning, because they thought that I'm giving up something which is come to me with a lot of difficulty. But then once I went there, and I went to IHM Pusa. I went there. There was a known person in the college who was teaching. That lady took me around the college, and when I saw a group of people standing together with white hats and white uniform, I really got hooked. I never looked back after that. And I am happy today after 30 years that I have not looked back, and I'm very happy at the decision that I took. So, I'll go back to your question. I just wanted to talk about a little bit about the background. I'll go back to the question, what you can look forward to, what can a student look forward to? Just take an example of my career. I started from IHM Pusa. I was lucky to get into Taj. There were hardly any choices at that time. There was Taj, there was Oberoi, there was ITC, and there was just one Hyatt Regency hotel at that time. No other chains in India other than smaller hotels which had been there for hundreds of years, 100 years plus during the, you can say during the British time, Imperial, etc., etc. When I got into Taj, then during my tenure in Taj, I worked in hotels. I worked in the best possible restaurants at the Taj. I worked in the continental restaurants. I worked in the Indian restaurants. I worked in banquets. I went into flight catering operations. And when I went to the flight catering operations, I always thought that, oh, this is the end of the world. A lot of us thought that this is the end of the world and we will never come out and get back into the hotels. But that was completely wrong. It was a completely new paradigm. It brought a new light to us. Then during my time in the hotels as well as in the flight catering, I dabbled with product development. We did product development for big retail agencies, retail companies which had started. I don't want to name them, but a lot of retail companies which started, a lot of food retail companies that we started taking food from Taj. Then I did product development for largest airlines in the world: Singapore Airlines, United Airlines, American, Malaysian Airlines, and lot many international airlines like Virgin Atlantic. I was the food product manager of Virgin Atlantic Airlines for continuously 4 years, and I was representing Taj and doing product development, making menus for them. I got the opportunity to travel half of the world. There were so many events that we used to do. Some of you who can share my 50% of my age will remember that India used to do a lot of festivals of India abroad. I was a part of the international team of chefs who used to do those festivals. I used to travel. I traveled with lots of prime ministers and presidents of our country during my tenure at the flight catering. So it has been an excellent career. I have never explored cruise lines in my career, but then if I would have a chance 10 years, 15 years, 20 years back, I would probably have taken up that chance. So but today, looking back, whatever I have done, I still feel it is only tip of an iceberg. Today, if a chef comes out of the college, he has 1 million different possibilities. Okay, whatever I have done a lot, but at the same time, I feel it is still a tip of the iceberg. You can get into retail today, you can get into cruise line today, you can get into airlines today, you can get into product development, you can get into companies which are into nutrition, you can get into companies who are doing ready to eat foods. There are so many different possibilities today in the culinary arts field only for the chefs. Recently, that everybody was looking sad with the pandemic coming in. Imagine how many ghost kitchens have come up, how many back end kitchens have come up, how many community kitchens have come up in the country and internationally, where people have started food deliveries. So if there was one profession which saw growth otherwise, lateral growth otherwise, was basically this culinary arts field. Lot of home cooks started cooking and selling. How a lot of chefs who were not possible, for whom it was not possible to work in the hotels, they went and they started doing their own cooking and selling, etc., etc. So food is something that will remain a necessity forever. We had a Young Chef Olympiad meeting today, just an hour back, and there was a chef, Chef Chris Galvin, who is a Michelin star, 2 Michelin star chef. He said he has done almost 700, 800, guests in the last week. So you can imagine in a place like London, where still, the pandemic is still not gone properly. He's already doing 7, 800 packs in his small restaurant, which is only 50, 60 covers. And he, of course, all the restaurants are working half, they're doing half, seating. So you can imagine the business is already picking up. So there are limitless possibilities, Tathagato, that I can think of.
Great to know that, chef. Great to know, actually. Okay, chef. Just what the things you have said. By that point, we can have the next questions from there. That what would be the preparation, or should I say, the mise en plan, is required for a chef, which should be taken by an aspiring students regarding to requirement of skills and attitude to be a proper chef in future.
Great, wonderful question. It does not have one answer.
That's right.
Because the answer varies from person to person. But at the same time, I must tell you that there are some important prerequisites to become a chef. Okay, when I say chef, I mean a food professional. Today, being a chef is only a small part of the profession. You have to be a good manager. You have to be a good social media guy. You have to have an image. You need to create an image for yourself. You need to be outgoing. You need to be the face of the organization for which you're working. The chefs have come out of the back areas and onto the restaurant, speaking to the people, trying to understand their needs, etc., etc. So if you look at the preparation that a person has to do to get into this, first of all, has to be, as is required for all the professions, is good, positive attitude. So you have to be extremely positive. I always say to my students, I say you have to be like a sponge. Imagine being a sponge, and water or every liquid being the positivity and every solid being negativity. So you have to be like a sponge. So please absorb whatever is thrown at you. Whatever good is thrown at you, please keep on absorbing it till the time you don't reach a particular limit, which will never come. The limit of learning, never comes. So a person has to be like a sponge. He has to continuously keep on developing. He has to continuously keep on evolving. He has to continuously keep on learning. What was good yesterday is not good today. What is not good today will not, which is good today cannot be good tomorrow. So you have to continuously keep on evolving. So number one, you have to be positive. Number two, you have to be, you have to keep on learning. And number three is you have to be ready for long haul. Don't expect, because it is, culinary art is an art, or you can say a science, which needs a lot of time to develop. It is not like that you it's not like a lottery, that you put in a lottery today and tomorrow morning you start earning 1 lakh rupees. You have to earn it. In the culinary, in the kitchens, we say, when you wear the white, you have to earn these whites. Nobody can gift them to you. You cannot just pick them up and start wearing a chef coat, right? I know a lot of people keep calling themselves chef these days, but at the same time, you need to actually earn it. It takes a lot of time, lot of hard work, a lot of commitment, to really become a good chef. And when I say good chef, I mean, what is a good chef? A good chef is something whom a guest will look forward to. As a good chef is somebody that a guest knows that, I want to go to this restaurant because it makes a good dal makhani. I want to go to this restaurant because it makes a good tandoori chicken. I want to go to this restaurant because it makes a good chicken chessier. I want to go to this chicken because restaurant because it cooks a very good, Chinese or a dim sum. And it is all credit to the chef, who is there cooking at the back. Not necessary an executive chef, not necessarily a sous chef, but somebody who is cooking there at the back, whose food is being appreciated, right? So that is good chef. And one very important thing which I think has become an integral part of the culinary arts business today is technology. You have to be extremely scientific minded today, because we have come from those mundane days of making tandoori chicken and butter chicken and pulao and rice and chicken curry and even grilled chicken. We have come to where we talk today of molecular gastronomy, where we talk about the chemistry in food, where we talk about modernist concepts of the cuisine. And these are not jargon. These are actually your understanding of basic physics, your understanding of basic chemistry, your understanding of basic food science, your understanding of basic nutrition. And if you don't have these basic scientific ideas, it's very, very difficult to become a successful chef. So I'm not saying it is difficult. I'm saying we have all studied basic nutrition in 10th, 11th, 12th. Even if you are a home science student or you are a biology student, and even if you have not been, even if you have studied, let's say, social sciences, or you have studied, commerce, you still have to develop slowly and steadily and understand what exactly you are doing. You can't become a good engineer if you don't understand good physics. You can't become a good engineer and say मेरे को तो सिर्फ physics आता है, chemistry नहीं आता है. Not possible. Even if you are into I would say civil construction, you still have to know some basic chemistry. So it is equally good that when you want to become a chef, you have to have basic scientific temperament. And this basic scientific temperament can start with physics, basic chemistry, and then it can go up to the level of maybe artificial intelligence. Okay, so if you have all these components, I think, and then of course, as I said, you need to the top it all, when you bracket it all together, and then you have to say you have to be ready for a very long, very a lot of hard work. And nothing comes, if somebody tells you there is a shortcut to hard work, he's actually misguiding you. There is no shortcut to hard work.
Great, Chef. So much of truly spoken by you. Okay, Chef, whatever the things we have just only been discussed, we have the next questions from one of our student has been come to us, which is very much of related. What are the things we have just discussed? That how much of the showmanship is needed nowadays to become a modern chef? As you can see, the Chef Saltby or Chef Ramsay, our own chef Sanjeev Kapoor is all over the media all the time, and these all the gentlemen are really really good speaker. So what are the preparation we can take to become an inventor and a presenter in the same time?
Yes, very, very pertinent. Very, very pertinent question, I must say. And no doubt, people like Chef Sanjeev Kapoor, Chef Ranveer, Gordon Ramsay, and many others have really made us all proud. They have made the chefs known in the world, and we owe a lot to them to bring this profession to a level where it is today. Of course, in the last 40, 50 years, a lot many people have done it even before. For example, one of the first celebrity chefs of the world was Chef Paul Bocuse, who brought a new life into culinary arts, and brought in new technology and new system of cooking, which we call nouvelle cuisine, which is the present continental or French cuisine as we call it. uh, there is. I will tell you a little bit about myself. I when I was leaving, when I joined Taj, and I finished my training, and I was supposed to be giving a small Thanksgiving speech on the finishing of my training. When I finished of the training, I could not finish three sentences. Without choking, because my public speaking was atrocious. It was very bad. But at the same time, I learned on the job. Okay, and I became a very basic trainer at a very young age. I became after 2 years of joining Taj, I became a trainer. I used to be a basic trainer for chefs who used to join Taj. And slowly, steadily, as you gain knowledge, as you gain confidence, as you gain information, you start developing into a better speaker as you gain confidence. So of course, today, in the world where you have social media, you have Facebook, you have Instagram, and you have a lot many other things like Twitter, etc., it's extremely important to be abreast with what is happening in the social media world. It is very important to understand how to remain connected. As I was telling you in my last answer, I said that it is very difficult to comprehend what is happening. There is so much happening around you. So if you don't keep yourself abreast, you miss a lot. Okay, even now, when I remain quite busy, I still spend at least 1 hour every day looking at the news, looking at internet, what is happening on the YouTube, what is happening on Twitter, what is happening on Instagram, etc., etc. And so it is very, very important to be a good speaker. And otherwise also, when you join any college today, there is always help ready from any of the institutions to teach you how to speak. Like for example, I can talk about IIHM. We have this which we call PDP, which is Personality Development Program, which is a part of our teaching of the students. And I'm sure other colleges, other universities also have something like that, where they teach you how to speak, public speaking, where they teach you how to write official letters, where they teach you, how to speak to people, how to communicate, etc., etc. I think much of it comes with time. And we should not give it so much of importance in the beginning to think that, oh, मैं अच्छा नहीं बोल पाता हूँ इसलिए मुझे होटल मैनेजमेंट नहीं करना चाहिए, मुझे शेफ नहीं बनना चाहिए. I think that is the wrong way to look at it. What is the best way to look at it is to join and try. And I take a lot of interviews. I tell the students, okay, forget about whatever you have done till today. From tomorrow onwards, buy a English newspaper, watch English news, speak to yourself like an idiot on the mirror, to the mirror. Let people laugh at you. Tell your friends that from today onwards I'm going to speak to you in English. I'm not saying English in the way that it's very, very important to understand, to communicate in English, but I'm saying, yes, if you are confident in speaking to your friends in Hindi, you should be confident to speak to somebody else even in English or in Hindi, depending on what your choice of language is. Tomorrow, if you let's say, for example, you work abroad and you are expected to speak in Arabic, or you're expected to speak in Turkish, or expected to speak in French, or any other language, you should first take pride, of course, in learning your own language. And then, of course, what is wrong? And we are lucky in India that we are born with two languages. Everybody in India who studies today or 50 years back has to learn, has his own mother tongue, his or her mother tongue. And then you have Hindi, which is a binding language, right? Not an official language, but a binding language. When I say Hindi, I mean Hindustani, whatever you want to call it, or Urdu keh lo, ya whatever. And then you learn English. So what is wrong in learning three languages? If you can learn three languages, you can also learn one more, right? So I don't think it's a great binding, but at the same time, you have to be a little confident in today's world, when the whole thing is being kind of dictated by social media, and communications have become a very important part of all the professions, not only culinary arts. And especially because this is a people's industry, you need to have good communication skills. Very simple.
Great, Chef. Great. Okay, Chef, my next question will be a little different from the last point exactly. That Chef, nowadays everyone is so concerned about to eating out, or rather to be having food from the outside, not because of only for the pandemic situation right now, and because of the calorie consciousness is there. And what are the changes we can do to make the business better? To keep in mind there is a calorie value to be added along with it.
See, I whenever I talk to students about trends and influences that occur in the industry, that have occurred in the industry over many years, so a lot of things have changed. So I will talk a little bit about two, three trends. I'll not talk on only about the health consciousness, because being health conscious is a cliche which actually means nothing, right? Being calorie conscious is a very bad thing. Okay, and what happens is there was a concept, international concept, which started from France, which was called cuisine monsieur. Okay, it basically means healthy cuisine. There was a group of people in the early 70s in France who started something which was called spa cuisine. Okay, what is spa cuisine? A spa cuisine is very simple. If you pick up basic food science, it will tell you that there is something which is called balanced meal, right? A meal has to be balanced so that you get carbohydrates, you get proteins, you get minerals, you get all the proximate principles of food in your meal. And we all know that depending on our activity levels, on the daily activity levels, for example, there are people who have got sedentary lifestyles, who sit in front of the computers like we are doing, unfortunately, over the pandemic now, sitting in front of the computers, and doing jobs. I'm not saying they're sitting like that watching movies, but they're doing jobs. That is their job. So they need to look at some alternate ways of maybe exercise, of movement, of balancing their meals, maybe having smaller meals which they can burn at the end of the day, kind of reorganizing their diets, etc., etc. So it is not very difficult to do that, right? And especially when you say about people are not very comfortable eating outside because they're very calorie conscious, it's quite possible. Now the problem is like this. If you go out 25 days a week, 25 days a month, or 20 days a month, and every day you end up at KFC, or you end up at Pizza Hut, or you end up eating paratha, and you end up eating, let's say, biryani every 25 days, then of course you're going to gain weight, then of course you're going to spoil your health. But if you keep 4 days in a month for pizza, maybe 4 days in a month for your crispy chicken, and you keep rest of the days in such a way that you can balance your meal, you can balance your calorie intake, then irrespective of whether you eat at home or you eat outside, I don't think there is, there are jet setters, people who travel all across 30 days, 25 days a month, and they are still fit because they go to the gyms, they burn whatever they eat, and they do yoga, etc., etc., and they remain fit, healthy, as long as they don't have any bad habits, smoking, etc., etc. Then I would say that it is very, very easy to remain fit. Don't ask me, I've learned it very late in life, so that's why I'm trying to give you an advice. So when you are a chef, in the earlier days, we always want to make food that is very desirable, that is good to look at, that smells good, and we in the earlier days, there used to be this fixation on बहुत सारा butter डाल दो, बहुत सारा ghee डाल दो, बहुत सारा ये डालो, वो डालो. But at the same time, now things have changed. We have understood how to break down the meals. I always say to my students कि आज से 15 साल पहले जो प्लेट होता था, वो अब इन्वर्ट हो गया. In the earlier days, we used to start with protein. We used to then go to the starch and then go to the vegetables. Today, we go to the vegetables first, we go to the protein next, and then we go to the starch. Okay, so that is how the plate has completely inverted. That is how the pyramid has completely inverted in the last. We always speak about a food pyramid. Today, if you look at any international food pyramid made by any good nutritionist, you will say in the first line, they say daily exercise, vegetables, lots of liquids, which was unheard of 20 years back. If you would have seen a pyramid 20 years back, जो हम लोग कॉलेज के दिनों में पढ़ते थे, it used to have protein, 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 vegetable, vegetable, fruit, fruit, starch, starch. It is still possible. It is still relevant. But for those people who do a lot of physical jobs, like people who work in fields, who work in mines, who work in huge factories, etc., etc. So for them, it is still possible. But for people who are into a slightly different or a sedentary lifestyle, you need to change the way you eat, the way you look at food. And there is no problem eating out. Huh? Please eat out. Most of the people who serve you good foods, if you're in the hands of a good restaurant or even a good small kiosk which sells pav bhaji, if the person is aware of cleanliness, I think there is nothing wrong to go and eat there.
Great to know that, Chef. I'm starving right now. Okay, Chef, my next questions would be from a student who has just only sent these questions that uh, because of this COVID-19 issue, the restaurant industry has been seeing a very low point in the business recently. So kindly brief us on the bounce back plan of the restaurant industry and what could be the contributions of chefs onto that plan exactly.
I was actually dying to answer this question. I didn't know that this question is coming, but I was dying to answer it. I will just give you a very small example. Tathagata, you know this industry for quite some time, and many of us are there. I know this industry for the last 30 years, okay, minimum 30 years. I started wearing a surgical gloves in the kitchen 20 years back. I started wearing a mask in the kitchen almost 18 years back. I started washing my hands according to WHO standards 25 years back. All right. I stopped wearing my wristwatch, just after I joined the industry, that is around 28 years back. Right. Now, why am I telling you this? I am telling you this, that look at this industry. This industry was ready for something like a pandemic 30 years back. I think apart from medical industry and apart from maybe pharmaceutical industry or some more industries, if there is one industry that was always ready for something like this, that is the food industry. When I'm saying food industry, I mean restaurants, I mean hotels. Taj Group of Hotels, because I was working there, Taj Group of Hotels was HACCP certified or food safety certified 28 years back. And this is not FSSAI. There was no existence of FSSAI at that time. It was international HACCP certification 28 years back. Oberoi's, I know almost 27, 28 years back. ITC, I know around the same time. So the hotels have been certified food safety handling organizations 25 years back. They have been wearing gloves, they have been sanitizing their hands, they have been wearing masks whenever you are handling food, especially cold food, etc. The hotels, the restaurants have been doing that for ages. If somebody was not doing it, he was not doing justice to his guest, right? So you can be rest assured that because of the pandemic, the chefs, of course, are going to play a very, very important role, because they're going to emphasize on cleanliness, they're going to emphasize on hygiene. There are lots of hotels, I came to know for the last 3-4 days, I'm speaking to a lot of chefs. There are new certifications that are being done by a lot of companies, international companies, on upgradations that can be done during the pandemic. And other than that, there have been safeguards in place for a long time, as I know. I worked in 3 companies, 3 organizations. While I was at Taj, it was already there. When I was in specialty restaurants, which had more than 85 restaurants at that time, each one of those restaurants was HACCP certified, food safety certified. Then FSSAI came. Everybody was FSSAI certificate, and all of them, even flight catering institutions that work in India, have got the highest quality of food safety certification anywhere in the world. So if you go to any restaurant today, you should be completely confident, right? If a fellow guest is not coming into your ear, you should be very confident that everything that is coming on the table, that is coming on your crockery, your cutlery, is absolutely safe.
Great to know that, Chef. Exactly. Chef, the next questions would be the most relevant questions about the career path. That what would be the salary pay scale of a fresher chef and to a master chef and different in the different industries, of course, and what can be the timeline to become a higher rank in the chef hierarchies?
Okay, I will first give a little bit of a background, and then I will answer the question directly.
Sure.
There are basically three levels at which you can join a kitchen. अभी मैं सिर्फ किचन की बात कर रहा हूँ बिकॉज
Sure.
हम लोग शेफ की बात कर रहे हैं. अदरवाइज if you are a food production student and you want to get into, let's say, airline, or you want to get into flight catering, or you want to get into let's say, for example, product development business, etc., etc., so the entry levels are different. But I will only talk about hotels and restaurants, etc. Now you can get into hotels or restaurants at three different levels. One is called the management trainee level, which is the kitchen management trainee level, which is generally 1.5 years से 2 साल तक का training होता है, right? And then there is another level which is called HOMT level, which is Hotel Operations Management Trainee, which is basically the next level, which is the supervisory level. When you join management trainee level, you become you tend to go to the level of a manager. When you go to the next level, you are inducted as on a supervisory level. And then unfortunately, if you can't get into both these levels, there are many companies, like for example, I know for sure Hyatt does not take management trainees, so they take people at the entry level. Now when you say entry level, that does not mean the lowest rung. That means they have fixed a level. For example, for those of you who know the jargon, it is called comi 2 level. Comi 2 level. So they take even a hotel management person at a comi 2 level, but he rises very fast, or she rises very fast. So there are three ways of getting into the industry. Now, if you get into the industry as a management trainee, what happens is you do 1.5 years ka training, or 2 years ka training. In some places like Taj, it is 2 years. In some places, it is 1.5 years. So you get into that. And if you are into ITC, or if you are into Oberoi, they send you to OCLD, they send you to their college, etc., and Welcome Group college, and you study and you also work at the same time. And then after 6 months, you go directly into the hotel and you are confirmed as a junior sous chef, okay, in the beginning of your career, right? And let's say you could not become a management trainee, you went into an HOMT level. So again, 1.5 years of training, again, maybe somewhere it is 2 years, and you get confirmed as a CDP, which is chef de partie level, which is a supervisory level. Now, if you could not get into both of these and you end up getting into the entry level, nothing is lost. You will, because you already have a qualification, because you are already trained, you will rise faster than everybody else who is in the same level. Even if you get in the hotel as a commie 2, I have seen people developing from commie 2 to CDP or demi CDP in 2 years time, right? Because you have the capability, you have the technique, you have learned everything, and you have the communication skills, so you will rise much faster than anybody else, right? So this is about how you can get into the industry, right? Now I come to salaries. Now, if you are a management trainee today, I'm talking about pre-COVID. If you are a management trainee in any company like Oberoi's or Taj, kitchen management, I'm just talking about kitchen management. So you would easily in your training get around 35,000. Easily, right? I'm not talking about house rent and this and that. I'm talking about solid good salary. It may have different components. Okay, most of the times during the training you get consolidated salaries. Okay, only on confirmation you finally get other perks, but it would be very easy to get 25 to 30,000 salary. I can with a lot of confidence say ITC pays that, Taj pays that, and Oberoi pays that. इतना तो मैं एकदम फिंगर में बोल सकता हूँ. Now you are an HUMT, you may earn around 20-25. I'm saying starting salary. Starting, this is not even, it is not exactly even a salary, okay? Because you're training. So it's almost like a, you can say, what do you call it? Not exactly a salary, but you're getting money. It is considered. Yeah, yes.
Stipend.
Stipend,
Yeah, like a stipend, yeah. And then if you join at the entry level, if you're joining at the entry level, then also because you are joining as a permanent employee, you are not on training anymore, you may end up getting the same salary around 20-25, because today commit to salary is around 20-25 in big hotels. In smaller hotels it could go to 15 to 20,000 rupees, because your perks are more, because you are a permanent employee, you get holidays, you probably get medical, you get your provident fund is deducted from your salary, gratuity is deducted from your salary, so you almost end up earning the same as an HOMT, okay, but because you have perks, so a lot of it gets deducted and it is saved for your future, right? Whereas an HOMT does not have that facility, because he generally is a trainee and he does not have all those perks, so he gets a slightly better salary than you. And then if you are a permanent employee, you also get a lot of tips. All right, you get a lot of tips because you get a lot of points because you are a part of the team, and because you are a part of the team, you will end up getting some more extra earning at the end of the month. So you are making almost the same amount of money as an HOMT, but you are a couple of ranks lower to him. So that is generally the kind of salaries that you get in the beginning. Now another big question which Tathagato sir asked me is about, what about executive chefs? I want to be very conservative with you, Tathagato. Today, when I became an executive chef, I was 29, 30 years of age, right? And today the executive chefs can be 25, 26, 27 also. Okay, and there can be 30, 32, 35. But I can tell you that as a ballpoint figure, any executive chef at any particular age, I will say at an age, because number of years also means something. So even an executive chef who has become an executive chef after 7-8 years of being in the industry will easily take home around 2 lakh. I'm being very, very conservative. I'm being very conservative because I haven't interacted and asked any executive chef in the last 1 or 2 years, but I'm talking about last year. The 2 or 3 people that I have asked, spoken to, I have seen 2 lakhs is minimum. That is, probably the salary of an executive chef in a 5-star hotel, or even a chain of restaurants for that matter. Because chain of restaurants, you also have executive chefs and you have 20, 15, 20 restaurants working under you. So 2 lakhs is nothing. I'm talking about INR.
Yeah, it's a really high-paid job.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, Chef, this would be the last question, and then after we will gonna sadly end up this session. So the last question for you, Chef, that nowadays every possible industry is heavily dependent on the modern technology. What are the changes happened in the last few years, which can be, enriched our experience of the foodies as a point of view of new technology help to make the dish to reach the foodgasm point? So,
Okay.
please.
I will give you a nice nugget on this.
Sure.
My first executive chef under whom I worked was a lady, right? And I have yet to see an executive chef with her kind of energy, with her kind of positivity. Why I'm saying this is because there is always this, and it's mostly in India, not abroad, that लड़कियां किचन में इसलिए नहीं आती क्योंकि वहां पे बड़े बड़े बर्तन उठाने पड़ते हैं. Okay, this is the general trend. अरे कैसे करेगी, वो तो छोटी सी है, वो बर्तन कैसे उठाएगी? Let me tell you, those things are a thing of past. Uh, there is no kitchen where probably very few, I must say. If you are working in a biryani joint, then it is a different thing. But if you are working in a five-star kitchen, there is nothing called Badi Handi now. There are technologies, there are ovens, there are brat pans, there are steamers, there are steam jackets, which you don't have to lift, which have got technology. We just have to press a button, and there is a hydraulic system that inverts everything into the container. Okay, there is a hydraulic system, there is a pipeline which takes out dal out of the steamer, right? I'm just saying because you said technology, so I'm talking about mechanical technology now. If there is somebody who is saying I am a girl and I cannot get into the kitchen because you have to do a lot of heavy work, it is a thing of the past, right? Today, in my time, when I used to write a recipe, when I used to do in the beginning, before the computers came in big way into the kitchen, we had files and files and files of recipes which we had to keep in the kitchen and keep on updating them every time a new menu would come, new item would come. Today you have food management, material management systems. Today you have recipe management systems. Today you have kitchen management systems, which are auto updated as the item in the receiving is updated. The whole system gets updated again. You have everything on the back of your hand or on an iPad or on or on your mobile phone. So technology has really taken many strides in the kitchen, but at the same time, if you look at the transition from small quantities to cooking large quantities, but if you look at the food in itself, if you look at the taste, if you look at the presentation, lot of changes have come. You have many equipment which reduce your workload by 50%. There are machines which can cut 700 kgs of vegetables every 2 hours. But there we are talking about bulk. But this industry is still about a lot of people. It is about human to human interaction. It is about making a good recipe taste better. A machine may not help you to make the taste of the dal makhani better. It may not help you to make the topping of the pizza better, but it can really help you to cut it the same every time. It can help you to keep the recipes. It can help you to maintain costs. It can help you to maintain a lot of things in the kitchen, like the history of your guests, like the recipes that you have done in the past. It can help you in product development. And today industry, as we talk about artificial intelligence, has already come into this industry, and a lot of things are automatically done. I'm sure you all know all the menus are available on iPad. All the menus are available now on your phone. You just have to click a button and the menu is transferred to your phone. Especially with the pandemic coming, so many changes have happened. And it's not that it's only because of the pandemic. These changes were already happening. You have restaurants today in our country where the food comes directly from the kitchen to the guest without any steward handling it, right? You have these conveyor belt restaurants. You have your restaurants where the food is directly kept by the chef onto the belt and it reaches the particular table in 30 seconds, right? There is no interference of the waiter, there is no steward, there is nothing, right? The guest gives the order on the iPad and the food comes to the table in 2 minutes. So there is a lot that is happening as far as artificial intelligence is concerned, as far as bulk cooking techniques are concerned, as far as computing is concerned, as far as material management systems are concerned, as far as food management systems are concerned, and a lot of things are happening. And it is really making a dent into the industry to such that it is becoming easier to operate, right?
It's a great knowledge.
Today you have ovens. Today you
Yeah.
have ovens. You want to make a biryani. You just have to put rice and chicken into the oven. and you have to press two buttons. In 20 minutes, you will have biryani ready,
That's right.
right? You have such ovens today.
Yes. Chef, there was a great knowledge we have got from you today, exactly. But every good things
My
has to
pleasure.
come to an end. So we have come to an end for the session for today. Once again, big thank you to Chef Sanjay Kak for enlightening us about the future of culinary art management as a career, as a as a inventor, as a presenter options. We will come back again tomorrow with the fine arts, which slides would be upcoming into the screen right away. And these are the informations of ECPT would be there. Tomorrow we have the fine arts, and there would be a surprise guest would be there. So if any of those students are liking to be join tomorrow's career counseling of ECPT, you can join at 8 o'clock tomorrow, Thursday, 12 November, evening 8 o'clock. And there would be the ECPT details in your screen. Yeah, there is the ECPT details. The contact and email ID would be the info@eduguide.com. The call center number would be 9903214444. The landline would be 08041253761. And in any time, if you're liking to be have the test, which I have told you earlier, which would be in www.ecptonline.com, which is powered by IBM and EduGuide. So, a very good night to all of you, wonderful listener. Thank you very much, Sanjay Shefkak.
Thank you very
And
much. Thank you very much for having me on the show today. It's been a privilege, and I wish all the best to ECPT and EduGuide. You guys are doing a wonderful job. And one of my nieces recently did this examination, and she was really impressed. And she wants to get into a very specialized field, and she said, I was really amazed at the choices that I got. And she was even her father was very excited. He was very impressed. He's a IT guy himself, so very impressed with the result of the examination, I must say. Thank you very much.
thank you, Chef. And we hope that everybody else or the students will gonna be taking the examinations. They're gonna be, having those results as they have been expected. And we will meet you soon. Till the time, good night. Namaskar.
Thank you. Bye bye, and thank you all.